Namaste, everyone. Thank you for joining in. So, someone recently posted questions about memory loss connected to Neo-Advaita, and I'm not surprised. So this video is going to be about it's a very intricate topic, but some of the harmful side effects of Neo-Advaita. So, how could Neo-Advaita lead to memory loss? So there have been some online postings about it, and then this person who wrote to me knows someone who's experiencing it. On the surface, it doesn't seem to make sense. How could contemplating our true nature as consciousness have anything to do with memory loss? And on the surface, it's correct. It wouldn't have that effect if if the person is ready for that practice. So, once again, it all comes down to the basics of Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is a systematic process towards the recognition of our true nature. And if you engage in jnana yoga, self-inquiry, before you have purified rajas and tamas, these are the three gunas, until your mind is primarily sattvic, you're not ready for self-inquiry. You're not ready to contemplate our true nature. This is not my 2 cents. This is Adi Shankara. This is, how many years do we have it? This is over 1,000 years of Advaita Vedanta that says, Ramana Maharshi himself said, a self-inquiry, I'm going to have to paraphrase it, I don't have the exact quote, self-inquiry is only for those whose minds are primarily sattvic. Okay, so if you have a lot of rajas, so the three gunas are the three qualities of mind, sattva, rajas, and tamas. I'm not going to go into them. Anyone who's interested in the topic of Advaita Vedanta should educate themselves on the topic of the three gunas. So self-inquiry are for those people whose minds, day by day, without any self-inquiry, their mind is primarily sattvic, primarily gentle, without desire, and peaceful. That's just the general state of your mind. If that's not where you're at, stay away from Neo-Advaita. Stay away. Here's why. Because Neo-Advaita only teaches various forms of self-inquiry and jnana yoga. Neo-Advaita teachers do not discern whether or not someone is ready for those, and they don't teach the preparatory practices. So that means if you jump right to self-inquiry, as every good, meaning every bad Neo-Advaita teacher will teach you to do, or worse yet, tell you not to do any kind of practice, then what will happen is, and I speak from personal experience, you're engaging in spiritual bypass. You're using something spiritual to bypass other parts of yourself. In this case, to bypass your rajas, which is your desire for activity and just desire in general, and tamas, which, we all need a little tamas and a little rajas, but if you're using self-inquiry to bypass a lot of rajas, excitability, and tamas, which can be fear and depression, and then tamas plus rajas mixed together create anger. If you're using self-inquiry to bypass that, you're not resolving that. What you're doing is creating an addiction to self-inquiry. So it's a deep question. Why are some people able to drink alcohol and be fine, and some people not? Why are some people able to smoke marijuana and be fine? Maybe, they drink, they get a little silly, but they're fine. They don't become alcoholics. Why are some people able to smoke marijuana and it's not an issue? Well, it all comes down to why you're doing it. So if someone has a glass of wine with dinner, if someone gets in the habit of having a glass of wine every time they're upset, that is a negative coping strategy. Okay, we all need to learn to cope with our mind, our emotions, and our bodies. However, something that just suppresses feelings, such as like I get really upset, and instead of dealing with my anger, I go take a drink. Well, it doesn't resolve the anger, it suppresses it. The nervous system just gets kind of, and then it comes up again. And then I go and have another drink. And then eventually, that's what can create the addictive cycle is lack of resolution. And then to boot, here's where it gets really tricky, is alcohol feels good. Smoking marijuana feels good. So it's like using pleasure to manage pain. Like every now and then, not a problem. But if it becomes a habit, it becomes a problem. And that's how addictions develop. And that's what Neo-Advaita is. It's using a spiritual high generated from self-inquiry to suppress and manage rajas and tamas. And it's an addictive cycle. And it will not, self-inquiry does not resolve rajas and tamas, just as drinking alcohol does not resolve anger. It makes it go away. It suppresses it a little bit. And then people become addicted. And then people become addicted to a particular teacher. They become addicted to watching Muji videos. I speak from personal experience, not so much with Muji videos, but with self-inquiry. So why could this, you know what, I'm just going to keep this video about the addictive nature of Neo-Advaita, and I'll look at some of the other harmful side effects later. So it's like, don't drink and drive. What would that be? Like, don't do self-inquiry and drive unless your tamas and your rajas is already balanced. In which case, self-inquiry becomes effortless. And not becomes effortless, is something you do all day long until it becomes effortless. But if you're not prepared, if according to Adi Shankara and Ramana Maharshi, and hey, you don't like what they have to say, then take it up with them. Until tamas and rajas are purified, and and that's just one. Until the they're called, what are they called technically? The qualifications for self-inquiry is what Shankara called them. Until those are met, if you're doing self-inquiry, you're just doing a spiritual addictive behavior. You're doing spiritual bypass. And it's going to lead you down a very dark road. And it's no mistake that 2 people committed suicide at Muji's ashrams. And I would be willing to bet that all around, I'd be willing to bet right now someone is taking their life. Well, I can't say right now in this very moment, but every day I'd be willing to bet someone kills themselves, because that's where addictions are deadly, right? And the thing about this addiction is, like, it's one thing, it's easy to recognize, like, oh, like smoking or drinking alcohol, like, oh, this is killing me. But what's so subtle about the Neo-Advaita addiction is you think you're pursuing the truth, and you are pursuing the truth. You're just doing it incorrectly. That's what's so seductive. That's why Neo-Advaita is so dangerous. And that's why these teachers are able to get away with the nonsense that they are, the financial, the sexual, the power trips, is because people get, I don't know if the teachers are doing this consciously, but it's kind of like the teacher's the dealer, and they've got a bunch of junkies around them. And so just say no to Neo-Advaita.